Hey guys, Hell's First here, back with another Corepunk video. So today we're going to talk about one of Alumio's sections we have here on the forums, and this man has gone together and made himself an encyclopedia of everything that is Corepunk. So we're going to go over it section by section so that you guys know exactly what to expect come the game, and so you know just as much as all of us know. So let's start off with the player character building section of Alumio's encyclopedia. So what we got is, a direct quote, "Currently levels are planned to be capped at 40, but even after reaching your level cap, you'll still be gaining experience to upgrade your weapon masteries." This is pretty sweet because at 40, you can move on to the next one to go to 40 again, the next one to go to 40 again for all three weapon specs and weapon masteries, which is going to make it an incredibly well-balanced playing field when you're playing against other people. That way, you and them are both using the exact same abilities once you're level 40, right? All classes have the same base movement speed, which means that we're going to have stuff in there that increases the base movement speed. Otherwise, they wouldn't use that wording. Pretty sweet. There are no cross-character bank planned yet for the same account, which I kind of hope they have this later down the road. In games like Final Fantasy XIV or Final Fantasy XI, you had the ability to kind of change your class just by going to your bank or to your house to make sure you could switch it real quick. It was a pretty cool thing because it allowed you to play everything on one character. That way, all the little tiny things like unlocking an area or getting a teleport to so forth and so on were all included no matter what character you were playing. It's pretty sweet. There is an auction house, and it is unified/global. Now, global means across all servers. Unified means across all areas in said server, which it says right here, banks are unified as well, with access from each settlement. So no matter where you are, as long as you're in a city that has a bank, it's the exact same bank as the other side of the world, which is pretty sweet because that's how it is in every game, and it'd be weird for them to switch it up on us. Then we got, you'll be able to switch between your unlocked weapon specializations and an NPC. Now, I was talking about this up earlier with the level 40 cap, and this is going to be sweet. However, it's going to get into it here a little lower down. You actually have to have unlocked the other subclasses. Now, we're going to get into that here in a second, but first, you'll be able to preview the skills of each subclass when you are creating a character, which is nice, but we're probably all going to know what's going to be there, especially if you're watching my content. You already know what to be looking for, so I do, because I told you. And we're going to just completely not even care about this part right here, because we're going to jump right into what we think we want to make. And now, what I was talking about earlier, I said we get to in a second, you are locked to the first subclass you selected at character creation until you hit level 40. And then you'll unlock the rest of the subclasses, and they're going to have quests to do so. When you reach level 40, you will get quests to unlock the other two weapon specializations your character has access to, and you'll have to level them from the beginning. So it's also going to tell us here in the next second. I just want to keep telling you guys what's going to happen, but Alumio did such a good job of lining it up that I could kind of just read and you'd get it, but I'm going to elaborate on it here in a second. So each weaponization specialization, Jesus, can't speak. Each weapon specialization has a weapon specialization mastery tree where you can level up your core skills by getting upgrades for said skills. Eventually, you will take all of the upgrades in that tree, and then each weapon spec tree your character has access to will take longer to max than the previous one due to mastery points using cumulative experience. So this means, okay, I get 1 to 40, right? Let's say I'm a bomber. I get infiltrator to 40. And I'm like, okay, I want to try out blastmatic. Well, say it took 10,000 experience to get to level 40 on the infiltrator. Now it's going to take 20,000 or 30,000 experience to get to 40 on the blastmatic, and then you hop on into the third, and it's going to be that much harder to get through that. I mean, it's going to make it a lot of hours, right? Then we've got, there is gear score in the game, which is pretty sweet because it allows for locking of raids or dungeons to someone who's just trying to tag along to get a piece of gear. It also kind of lets you know who's putting a little more time in the game, because you know there's going to be a soft cap and a hard cap based on how far you can go with the gear score, and most people aren't going to get past that soft cap. People like me and my guild, Definitely to the hard cap is what's going to happen. Then we got another direct quote here. As a player, you have a set of characters to choose from. Each character has 3 weapon masteries you can decide on. Each weapon mastery has a unique set of abilities and a unique playstyle. Also, all characters have 9 general branches of passive talents for which you can choose up to 3, combining them as you see fit. The game offers interesting itemization via a system of artifacts that will strengthen any combination of weapon mastery and passive talents. You can get new abilities through artifacts. This is what makes the game, in my eyes, unique. Because of the 9 branches and the ability to pick 3 of the 9 however you see fit and to constantly mix and match them until you find the one that works, you're going to be able to make healers straight up DPS, and probably with the new artifact abilities, you're going to be able to make DPS straight up healers or tanks. Who even knows? We don't know what's going to come from these yet, but we can sure as hell be excited about it, right? Next, we got, once you've assigned a talent point into a talent tree, you cannot remove it from that tree, but you can respec it inside the same tree at any time, which is sweet, meaning, okay, I clicked this, I didn't mean to, now I can go ahead and move it into this one, but it's got to be in the same tree, okay? Which is also going to make for, first time you go through the tree, none of us are going to know what the fuck we're doing, because there isn't going to be some sort of a guide to tell us this is the best way to go. We're going to be creating that guide, all right? And then I'm going to be sharing it with all of you once we figure it out, which is the way to do it if you ask me. Then you got, once you assign the maximum amount of points a talent tree can have, you will not have enough points to take up all the talents in the tree, so just keep that in mind, which is why the earlier point makes sense. You can go to an NPC and switch the complete active tree with a new one. You will not lose the progress in your old talent tree, but you have to put the maximum amount of points to unlock the next one to use. So once you have all of them unlocked, then it's just go to the NPC and then drag and drop which ones you want to try and figure out the best build for whatever you're trying to do. Oh my god, every talent tree will take longer to max than the previous one due to talent points using cumulative EXP, which we already talked about on the other deal, but it works the same on the talent branches, which I'm sure you assumed, because that seems to be the way the game is going. Then we got another quote, when starting Corepunk, you'll be able to select from a list of heroes. Initially, heroes aren't assigned to a class archetype, but each hero has a slight inclination towards a particular archetype. For example, you'll be able to build a tank out of a delicate female character, which that's one of the first things they ever said, and I'm glad it's back up in here. Alumio definitely scoured the earth to put this together. And then we got another quote, weapons are tied to specific classes and are highly valuable. In addition, using weapons influences the way a character looks, which is sweet. Now, I'm wondering if it's just the weapon in your hand or if it's the entire overall look, because it could be the entire overall look, right? Then we got, it will take 80 to 100 hours to reach level 40 with your first character, which is pretty sweet, meaning it'll probably take 200 hours to hit the next 40 and 300 to 400 hours to hit the third 40, giving us plenty of gameplay before we even get in to the end game process, which from what it sounds like is going to be huge. If you choose, you can level mainly through instance PvP, but it'll take longer. I don't know anybody who's going to choose to level this way. That would just be excruciating. Then we got another quote, game content won't be gated by gear score. However, this may not be the case for guilds and parties, which may have certain requirements regarding which players can be invited to a guild or a party. Gear score determines the gear level only by the total number of stats. So no content will be gear score gated, which is kind of crazy, because that leads me to think, you know, anybody could enter a raid at any time. So if I wanted to, and you're in my guild and I want to hook you up with that badass piece of gear, I can just take you through the raid, and if it drops, hand it to you, especially if anybody in my guild's already got it. It's going to lead to sweet ass carries to hook people up for dough, you know? Then we got, there are 4 cultures in the game, Yorners, Elanians, Quadiri, and Faden, and you'll be able to join one at level 40. There will be 20 universal skills, 12 skills will be shared, and each of the 4 cultures will have 2 unique skills, which is going to be pretty insane, because you know there's going to be one that everybody is going to want to be. And there's going to be something else along with them. It can't be just the skills. It has to be, I don't know yet. There has to be something that is behind the scenes with these guys. We'll figure it out, though. I'm sure they'll give us more after beta. Then we got the feature to allow renaming an already created character did not exist at the time this quote was issued, but they want to implement this as they believe it's something players should be able to do. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about that one myself. I don't think you should be able to change your character's name. And if you're going to, it better cost a hefty penny, because you make a character, you make the name, that should stick with it. What if you piss a bunch of people off by stealing loot nonstop and then decide to change your name? It's bullshit. Should be stuck with the name and the reputation that comes with it. Unless, you're horrible and you messed up in the first 5 hours of gameplay. It's like, okay, we'll let you change your name. But no, not forever. That's just, no. All right. There's a limit for the amount of characters you can have in your account, but said limit is not known yet. Nothing too worried right there. I'm probably not going to play more than one character, because what I've learned in these games is if you try and differentiate and play multiple tunes and try and keep up on multiple tunes, you're just falling behind on your main tune. If you just focus 100% of everything you got on one character, it'll be a badass in the end, and you just stick with it no matter how shitty it gets. Eventually, you're going to be a powerhouse. Doesn't matter what game I've played. There could be the worst rated class in the game. I've known somebody that stuck with it and made it a powerhouse that eventually changes the fact that it's no longer one of the worst characters in the game, and people want to play it because whatever this dude figured out. So, who cares how many slots? Pick one, play one, and enjoy it, and don't stop, because eventually you'll be a god with that character, and it'll have everything you want it to be able to do towards the end, I promise. Then we got, there's no difference between PvP and PvE stats or talents. Pretty sweet. Classes are not gender locked, but they are race locked, which we already knew going into it. So here we got a bunch more quotes, okay? Direct quote. Would you have to level up attributes like strength, agility, etc., or are they leveling up in predetermined way based on the hero? The response was, every character has their own scaling, yes, but you can add passive trees to that, which we knew about the 9 trees letting that happen. Then we got, question, hey, are you going to give specs multiple types of stat scaling so that off builds are possible? It would make each hero even more interesting if as well as have 3 specs. Some of these specs can be built, played in more than one way. The answer was, yes, this is actually how Corepunk works already. Different stats enhance different build paths within the same specialization. Another question, are there dedicated healers in the game? Answer, you'll be able to make a fully dedicated healer build, a half healer build, a half support build, a half healer, half damage dealer build, and so on. If you're focused on building a dedicated healer, then the efficiency of your other capabilities will be significantly reduced. We give players the opportunity to choose how they build their characters. If someone wants to build a dedicated healer, they can certainly do so. We do not want to forcefully deprive such classes of flexibility and variability. Note that dedicated healers will be needed in order to complete challenging party and raid content. Of course, right? You're going to need a dedicated healer for a raid. There's no way you're going into a raid without a dedicated healer. You're going to need it. However, I'm going to be making a blast medic personally, right? And I will be healing in raids, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go heavy on the DPS front, because I do believe the way the skill set works that you can make a blast medic one hell of a PvP god. And that's what I'm going to go for, because it's not something anybody's thinking about right now, and I want to be that guy. Then we're going on to the next one. There will be items that affect threat generation. Taunt is not a key skill in determining whether your character can act as a tank. Taunt is a tool that can help you at critical moments when someone from your party draws aggro. How good a tank you are will be determined by your build, gear, and level of skill in maintaining the required threat level. Now, they've also said they're going to have those threat level, aggro level kind of meters built into the game, which is going to make it a little easier for people to play tanks. And then who knows what people are going to put together as a tank, considering you can do it with anyone. I mean, we might be seeing cleric tanks, that can just keep themselves alive and just beat to keep tons and tons of healing coming back to them with their stationary healing abilities. Then we've got many abilities in Corepunk will be non-targeted. You simply have to land these. Skill shots, a must. Play League of Legends, Eternal Return, any game that's got some skill shots, even Albion Online's got some. They're going to help you win in this game. Then we do have on-hit effects, which can apply various procs. These can be both magical and physical, so yes, you will be able to combine physical damage and magic damage on basic attacks. As for abilities, the game will include abilities that deal both physical damage and magical damage simultaneously, which will be really good for those people that have resistance up in one but not the other. or bosses the same way. And we got another quote: upon reaching the maximum level, players will be presented with most of the content. As we said earlier, 40% of the content is pumping, and 60% of the content will be available after reaching the maximum level. Pumping being grinding, right? But 60% endgame. 60%. Guys, this is enormous. This is fucking incredible right here. 60%. They have focused on endgame. This is how you make a game. All these games that are coming out nowadays that are trying to make it in the world of looter shooters or looter RPGs or action RPGs, every single one of them falls short with endgame content because there's not enough to continue going, because the entire game was built around the leveling process, and they failed to see how important endgame was. And they all die. Every single one dies, except for the ones that have endgame ready. So I'm really excited about the 60%. I can't wait to see just how much of that is actually intense raid or intense heavy group running dungeons, or I don't even know, some fun shit. I can't wait. Then we got resistance wise, there is only armor and magic resist, which is better than having fire, ice, lightning, all those. Then we got, is it confirmed that the base abilities of a hero are permanent, or will we be able to upgrade or replace them with hero-specific skills as we progress in the game? The answer is yes, you'll have a total of up to 15 abilities, and most of them are from artifacts and a weapon, which is really cool, because that means who knows what we're going to be able to put together as an actual, it might not have to be any of the things we're looking at right now anyway, which is why I can't wait to see some of these artifacts and some of the abilities they're going to put in the game. Because there might be just a 4 or 5 set piece of gear that everybody wants to get no matter what class you're playing because of certain abilities that come on it. We might just stray away from the normal abilities altogether. But I don't know if that'll be the way to go or not. I guess we'll figure that out more as we move. Next question. Can we change between the 3 specs all the time, or will it cost? Will there be a way to reset points invested in the different talents and specs? We already know that answer, but the cost we don't yet. You can reset points invested in talents. You'll be able to switch between 3 specs, but to have all 3 specs on one hero won't be an easy task. As I said, we're probably looking 500 hours to get that all completely set up. But once it is, then yes, you can swap between them, which we already knew, and it's going to be awesome, and I can't wait. Next question. Will the game be traditional in locking in your character role? For example, if you choose tank, that is what you're, or can you switch? And the answer is, specs will allow to dramatically change your hero's behavior. It will be easier to start with a new character, but for folks who like to push their card to the limit, you can get most skills in all 3 specs. See? This is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to push the character to the limit, because you want to have the most powerful character there is. And that means your character has everything. Not let me log off and get to my twink here real quick. No, that won't work, okay? You're going to have to do it this way or it's not going to work. Next question. What are the key differences you're planning between supports and healers? Answer. In our understanding, heal is also support class, but if you want to focus on the healing of other players, you really have to focus on the build and artifacts for the healer. Otherwise, you will not be able to heal as effectively as a specialized class. At the same time, there will be characters with enough control and the ability to strengthen other players who can act as pure support classes. We plan to make them very useful due to their utility, which is going to be sweet. The big support classes are going to make a mammoth difference, especially if you got one that buffs the healing and another one that buffs the aggro or buffs the tankiness or damage. Who knows? We know it's going to be good. Supports are going to have a role, which is going to be really good. Another quote here, question, what kind of weapons are going to be present in the game, and are they going to be connected to the characters? Bow, sniper rifles, swords, machine guns. And then the answer, Corepunk has basically all the types of weaponry. Each hero will be able to use only the specific types of weapons in each specialization. For instance, snipers can use a sniper rifle, rangers can use a bow, that kind of stuff, right? Then we got level of your weapon specialization resets after you swap specialization, and you'll have to level up new specialization. You will not lose the level in your old specialization. We already knew this. It's just going over more stuff. You can edit color of skin and eyes, facial features, type and color of hair, and facial hair and character creation. Pretty sweet to know, but not huge. And then the fundamentals of the balance system are based on the rock, paper, scissors principle. Each build will have an advantage over certain builds while being weaker to others. This is for PvP, because it's going to be a huge deal where, okay, well, my class is incredible at murdering these, but this guy is going to be better at murdering me. It needs to happen. There needs to be that rock, paper, scissors. That makes it incredibly fair. So there you have the first section of Alumio's encyclopedia. I'm going to say we call it the Alumia-clopedia, right? The Alumia-clopedia. Something like that. I don't know. I'm going to name it that. We're going to go through. He's got tons in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 different sections. So this is one of 19, and that's relevant as of just the other day. So, once again, I'm Hell's First, and until next time, ta-ta.